The Master Peter Dunoff says that when we pray, we have to look towards east or towards north. These are the both directions. And with the Brotherhood in Bulgaria, there are two peaks which the Brotherhood visited most. The highest peak in Vitusha, Black Top or Cherny Vrh, and the highest peak in Rila, Musala. And there is one point from which the top in Vitusha is exactly in north, and the top in Rila is exactly in east. And this is this point, this is this rock. And the master knew that this is a place. That's why 1927, after they went many times to Vitusha and to Musala, he brought them 1927 here for the first time to make this what we do now every year. And this all with the stones was not here, it was only this rock. And he put his stick under the rock, and it became immediately a little bit wet. And he said, here is a source, make it like this. And he also ordered to the pupils to make those signs. And in the teaching of Peter Dunoff, the water is a symbol of life. Water is the manifestation of life, and it is the main Bedingung,
condition.
The main condition that we have life. Only minerals don't need water. It's coming under the rock, and the source where the water is coming is actually where come lives from. You know, so the source in the Penny-rhythm and all the songs of mastery always think about the source in the mountain where the water comes. And actually, the source is Christ. The source is God. So this is the whole life here, and the water is a manifestation of this life. So if we really want to understand this, we have to think that those signs have the whole life in them, that you can read the book of life here. So life manifests in two conditions, in two conditions, let's say, space and time. And we say space is something which is mainly in the spiritual world, and time is mainly in the physical world, in the human world. So we here live in the principle of time. We have a lot of space. Between Earth and Moon is a lot of space. Between Earth and Sun, we have so much space, but we always have problems with time. And in the spiritual world, it is the opposite. They have plenty of time. There is no problem with time, but they have problem with space, because the spiritual world consists of the beings which are there. There is no empty space, you know. Everything is some creature, some living creature. There is nothing which is not a living creature. So everything flows into each other. So there is no space. They always have problem with space. This is what the Master Dunoff says. So we have here the principle of space, and there the principle of time. When we speak from space, we work with the number 9. And when we speak from time, we work with the number 7. 7 is the rhythm of time. Our whole life, our whole evolution follows the number 7. Our solar system has 7 incarnations. We are now in the 4th one. In this 4th one, we have seven big human, we say, races, human periods, huge human periods. Every one of these human periods is also divided in 7 small periods. God made the world in 7 days, 6 days work, and the 7th was a rest. We have 7 notes in the music. We have 7 colors in the rainbow. We have 7 planets in the solar, 7 seven, we say planets or stars, it's mixed, moon, sun and planets, everything is seven bodies in the solar system which we can see with our eye without using something else. They are only exactly seven. That's why we have also 7 days of the week. Everything in our lifetime works in the rhythm of 7. And the spiritual world is divided actually in 3 times 3. This is the number 9. The number 9 is a consequence of the number 3, because everything in the spiritual world is divided in 3. Our soul has 3 abilities. We can think, we can feel, and we have a will to do something. We have generally also three layers. We have body, soul, and the spirit. In the spiritual world, there are 9 angel categories. How do you say hierarchy? Hierarchies. Okay, the same, just another pronunciation. You have these 9 hierarchies, 9 categories of angel creatures, and they are also divided in 3. There is a first sky, second sky, and third sky. And in every sky, you have 3 categories of angel creatures. And also the Master Dunoff says, we have, and this is now, we come exactly to this thing. He says, in the manifestation of God, there are 3 orders. Ideal order, real order, and material order. In other lectures, he calls them divine world, spiritual world, and human world. Or we say we have the place of God, the place of the angels, and the place of human beings. So here he calls them the ideal order. The first line is the ideal order. The second line is the real order, and the third line is the material order. And these are principles here. We can read a lot of things from this science. I will try to make a couple of examples to understand the principle, and then you can work with it further. He says, in the divine order consists of God, nature, and the human being which is made Ebenbild Gottes.
Image of God.
It's like the image of God, made like God. So God consists everything. The circle with the middle, these are actually all 3 worlds. The middle is the divine world. The space of the circle is the spiritual world. And the line where the circle ends, this is just a border where the power of the middle ends. It is shining and it reaches only till here, and here it stops its work and is getting back. And as a consequence of this returning of the light, it comes this line. It's not that someone drew it. We have to draw it here on the earth. But in the spiritual world, it is not drawn, it's a consequence. If you see a line here, you know, but this line is not drawn, it's a consequence because the rock ends. You understand the idea? So the middle is the divine world, the space of the circle is the spiritual world, and the end of the circle is the human world, where we are. We are in the periphery of the creation. So this is God. All these 3 layers are in God. And God manifests himself. When he manifests himself, he has to make a polarity. Polarity is an important, a main circumstance, a main condition, so that the manifestation is possible. And in the polarity, we have 2 powers. Power where the right side is up and the left side is down. That means where the positive powers of nature are leading and the negative powers of nature are following. Or we call it the power of good. And we have powers where the left side is up and the right side is down. So we say these are powers where the negative power is leading and the positive power is following. Or we say this is the power of evil. So this is the, or light and darkness, you understand this principle. And in the ideal order, those two powers of good and evil are parallel. They have no problem with each other. They are in perfect harmony with each other. And so this is God, this is the nature or the spiritual world, the divine world, the spiritual world, the human world. So when we have God in its perfection, then the spiritual world is good and evil in balance, and then we have the human being which is made as God. So we have three qualities which are in total balance. Let's say, for example, thinking, feeling and will in balance, or spirit, soul and body in balance. This is the triangle, this triangle, where all the sides are equal. Then we come to the second order. The second order was the real order. So this is the ideal order. This is what we want to reach. The real order is are the powers which now work behind our life. This is the spiritual part of it. So in the real order, those three signs are called народ, държава, власт, nation, state, and power. It is actually the same like the upper ones, but it's one level down. So nation means all the creatures of life. All the creatures of life together are God. But here they are polarized. It is not this one with the one middle for everyone, but here everything is polarized. So we have here something like a war between good and evil. And as a consequence of it, the second part, state, we have the following, that those two powers here are not parallel, but are quadrature. They make a 90 square. They make square angle. They make 19 degrees. So this is a very disharmonic connection. So they fight with each other. And here, the negative one has the upper position, and this one has the down position, because the negative one it makes no sacrifice. In another conditions of the creation, it holds the same position it had. If it was sacrificed, because to turn 19 degrees, it means to make a sacrifice. And this turned 90 degrees, but they didn't want to make a sacrifice. This power didn't want it to make a sacrifice, stayed like this. And that's why we have here this disharmony. And as a consequence of it, we have here two triangles. You don't see them, but they are here. When you put this line here, or actually this line, we take this line, we call it hypotenuse. How do you say in English?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse?
Oder?
So when you have
Diagonal.
okay, the diagonal of the square, but when you imagine this, those are two triangles, and every triangle is not like this one with equal sides, but every triangle has an angle of 19 degrees. How do you call such a triangle in English? In German it's
Rechtwinkeliges Dreieck.
Rechtwinkeliges Dreieck, genau. But I don't know how to say it in English. You don't understand the idea. So in the mathematics, you call these two parts of such kind of triangle catheten. Cathets, probably something like this. And this part is called hypotenuse.
Yes.
Something like hypotenuse.
Pythagoras.
I don't know. So these are these sides of the triangle. So we are again human beings, like here. But here we're not like the image of God, but we're polarized, and we have disharmony. Those three sides, so those two sides are the mind and the heart, and the diagonal, the hypotenuse, is the will. So we are polarized. We have two kinds of thinking, two kinds of feeling. a divine one and a material one. And the will in the middle is the divine power which has the task to bring them in balance. But in the square, they are not in balance. We are now human beings in the square. The Master Peter Dunoff says, in the spiritual world, the human being is now in the form of a square. And we also have our four parts. We are a soul, which has mind, heart, and will. We are a kind of square. And we're now working to develop our geist, our spirit. So this is the second order, where everything is polarized, and that's why we are not free. We are in something like a prison. We are in a square. And the third order is the material order. The Master Peter Dunoff calls this order, those signs, head, lungs, head, lungs, and stomach. This is the way he calls them. So we have here everything is one. Here is polarized, and those two parts are also polarized. So this square in the divine world is our main condition with which we work. We are now human beings which represent God, but in this not ideal version. And we have those four things. We are an I, a soul, which has the thinking, the feeling, and the will. And we have those three parts of our body. Head represents the divine world in me. Lungs represents the spiritual world in me. And stomach represents the physical world in me. And so, this is the material order. In the material world, we work only for those three things. What do I eat? How do I feel? And with what can I have some fun in the material world? What can I think of? And so on. So this is the material order. And we have to work to bring those three in balance. To bring our nervous system, our breathing, and our muscles, our power, and our eating in balance. And we can only do it if we actually work spiritual on us. And if we work spiritual, we also bring thinking, feeling, and will in balance, so that we'll be able to become a human being which is really reflecting the image of God, and to come in the ideal order of life. So this is some basic idea which you can get from those three signs, from those 9 signs. And this way of development works in the number 7. So we have here 7 sentences. In those 7, it's always to think that 7 has something like a circle in it. The first 3 are going down, the 4th is on the bottom of the circle, and the next 3 are going up. Can you imagine this? So they're here written just like this, as we write normally, but we have to think it as a circle. So the first position from which we start, coming down from the skies, the first situation is brothers and sisters. So we were born from God as brothers and sisters. Then we go one level down, mother and fathers. So here we go a little bit from the divine world down, where we adapt something. We make a connection with the matter. Today people adopt some children. We adopt the matter. Our soul adopts something from the matter, or?
Matter.
Yes. And that's why we also polarize. We're not. Yes, we are women and men. Then the third position is friends and strangers. So we are this time really divided. You know, friends and strangers is next step of. So I have a part of people which are my friends, and the other one are my enemies, which is it is totally divided. And then we reach the lowest point, masters and pupils. So we reach one polarization where actually we are down, really down in the matter, and our spirit has to be the master of the matter, to start to make some education, to bring the spirit in the matter, so that our so that everything which is more, how do you say, primal, not perfect, more animal like, to make it more human like, to make it more divine. We have to teach the matter in us. And then we go up. The first position when we go up is servants and masters. So this is actually our position now, the fifth one. We are in the fifth period. And the world today is divided in servants and masters. There are people who rule and people who serve. And also in us, we always exchange positions. The matter in me, in myself, is a master, and my soul is a servant. You know, when I go and work to earn money, my soul is a servant. And then we change position. We come to Rila and we dance Spaniard with me. So my soul and my spirit is a master, and the matter is a servant. I need my body to do it. So this is the situation in which we are now working, and they always exchange. The one is master, the other is pupil, and opposite. So this is a working process, so that they can really marry and become one. And when they become one, we reach the sixth position. The sixth position, there is no polarization. It says, you, servants of life. So when they become one, we all become servants of God, of this manifestation, of this water. Life is the water. And then the seventh position is the closing of this cycle. Open your hearts for the good and be like this source. This is it. And down is on a strange way written the year 1930, the day 25th of July, and at the end is something like 12, which I don't know what it has to mean. Probably those signs have also other meaning, but I know only this one. So that's everything which I can say now.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Bravo.
Amazing.